Silhouette version 6 has over 130 different nodes to work with. So we're just going to have a look at a few of them and see how we can do a bit of compositing, a bit of stabilisation, and turn this scene from a almost sunny day at the beach into something a little bit colder. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to stabilise out the scene here. And to do that, we're going to use the transform node. And the transform node is what we'd use to change position, scale, rotation, and shear. But we also have a way of using tracking data to do either match moving or stabilisation. So let's do that as well. So I'm going to add a tracker in here and connect it to my source footage. And this works exactly in the same way as the trackers do in the other nodes. So we're going to need to have a layer, which I'll just call stabilize. And within that layer, I'm just going to draw a little shape here. Okay, I could use point trackers to do this same job, but I'm going to come into my trackers here and use the Mocha tracker just to track this through. And just quickly check that there's nothing strange happening with our shape. That's looking okay. Lovely. And I don't have to do anything else to apply this track. It's automatically applied. So what I can do now is just take my tracking data from the tracker and plug it in to the transform node. So if we come into the transform node here, I can now select my stabilize layer and change my mode to stabilize. So if we play that back, our image is nice and stabilized up. I can use this opportunity as well to come in and just straighten the horizon up a little bit. And then I will also rescale this to get rid of some of the black bars around it. So let's take that to about 108, 109. Lovely. And let's play that back. And we now have a nicely stabilized out image. At the end there, we're seeing a little bit of black still. So I might just come in and bring this up and maybe increase the scaling to 110. And that should be fine. Lovely. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of color correction in here. So I can come into color, go to color correct and apply that after my transform. So let's make this look a little bit less sunshiny. So what I'm going to do is maybe touch the saturation down a little bit. I'm going to bring the contrast up and the brightness down. And I'm working on the master here. I could also be working in the shadows, midtones and highlights separately if I need to. So maybe just in the midtones, I'll make this a little bit cooler. There we go. Just touch the temperature up a little bit just to cool the image down. And if I hit D or use the enable, disable button up here, I can see the before and after. So it's a subtle little change, but I think that's looking quite nice. Now, the next thing I want to do is add a bit of snow. So I have another clip in my sources. Let's play this back. So we have a bit of some snow flurries here. And I want to put this over the top of my beach clip. So if I come to my composite section here, I have a number of different ways that I can bring these together. If I was bringing together clips with alpha channels, I could use the composite node here. But as I don't have an alpha channel on this one yet, I can just use the math composite here. And I can take this. And the math composite has two inputs. It has a foreground and a background. So I can take my color correction into the background. Let's just delete that output for a second. And bring my snow over the top. And let's play that back. And without us doing anything else, that's composited that over here using the add blend mode. And if we come down into the node parameters, we can take this into, instead of using add, we can use one of the other blend modes. For example, screen, to make the snow a little bit more subtle there. Now, one of the great things about using nodes is that I can reuse sources rather than having to build things up in layers. So if I wanted more snow here, I can come in and use another math composite here and bring more snow over the top of the result of the previous snow. But let's do something a little bit different with this snow here. Let's come over to my transform, add my transform one more time. And if I click on the screen here, I can be viewing this node while working on this node, and just come in and maybe scale this up a little bit. So we've got a little bit more depth going on in our snow. So we'll come in, change this to screen again. And we can start to build up layers of snow here. And I can do that one more time. Come in, add another math composite here. Taking the snow one more time, feed that in over the top of the result of the last one. And maybe we'll just transform this up to and make this even bigger. Maybe reposition this a little bit over here. There we go. And change the blend mode now on this again back to screen. And if I wanted to, I could come into my filters and maybe add a blur in there as well. So you can see how easy it is to start building up multiple layers using the nodes here. If I'm happy with that, I can come in and add another couple of filters just to finish off and tie the effect together. So maybe something like a ND gradient, so neutral density gradient here. And this will make this look a little bit more stormy. So I can use my on-screen controllers just to change where the gradient goes to. Round about there. Take the preserve highlights up a little bit. Now I'm starting to like the effect here, but I don't like the fact that the snow is also being caught up with this gradient here. So what I can do is I can disconnect it from the bottom and bring it up a little bit towards the top. So if I shake this about, that breaks the connection at the bottom, and I can just stick that in there. So it's now affecting the image before the snow is added to it. So if we come down here, we can now see that the snow is a lot clearer over the top. Cool. And finally, I can just add a little bit of color just to tie everything together. I can go to my film lab, go to the film stocks, add that down to the bottom there, and maybe use one of the presets that we have available to us. I can then find maybe one of the cross-processing ones or one of my motion picture films. And just find one that I like, come back in. If I think that the grain is a little bit too hard on that one, what I can do is then just take the amount of the grain down significantly. There we go. And even mix back that entire effect just a little bit. So we've got something a little bit more subtle. So that's just a quick little look about how we can start to build up some quick little composites. Starting with this shot here, stabilizing it out, adding a little bit of color correction, a bit more color correction, and then slowly adding in layer after layer of snow. And finally adding a bit of overall color correction into the mix as well. And of course, with 138 nodes, there's a lot of effects to choose from directly within Silhouette, but also you can add in other third-party OFX filters into Silhouette as well. And you can see the current list of qualified filters on Silhouettefx.com. And that was a short bit of compositing within Silhouette v6.